What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Critical Overlord here. We're going to talk about a few different horror topics in this video here today. We'll be talking about Welcome to Derry, The Strangers Chapter 2. We'll be talking about Fear Street, and we'll round this out by talking about Scream 7. So starting off here with Welcome to Derry, Bill Skarsgard recently made comments about his return as Pennywise in the upcoming Max show Welcome to Derry. The show that we know is going to be connected to the recent films from Andy Muschietti. He even admitted to hesitating to return due to wanting to put the playing monsters part of his career behind him. Something that, of course, is ironic considering his most recent role was in Nosferatu. He was a guest on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast where he revealed this and shared that Pennywise will be hardcore. But was there ever a time that this character wasn't hardcore? Is this show going to explore an even more sinister side of this shape-shifting monster? Here's what he said about returning. He said it was fun. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, actually. And there's parts of it where we got to explore sides of old Pennywise that we haven't seen. So maybe that's part of why it's going to be hardcore. He said, and that's fun. I remembered how much I enjoy working with Andy, and we do have a lot of fun together. I think there's some cool stuff in there that we haven't seen that I'm excited for the people to watch and enjoy, hopefully. He went on to talk about, like, at one point also how it was Andy and I think Barbara Muschietti is their name, who convinced him to come back. He just was ready to put all of the monster part of his career behind him. Again, considering he just played Count Orlok, that's a bit of an ironic thing to have shared in this podcast, but check this interview out. I'll leave a link to it down in the description for those of you who want to check this out. What are you looking forward to in Welcome to Derry? Are you excited that Bill Skarsgard will be back? Did you want to see someone else play Pennywise? Let me know down in the comment section below. Now, let's talk about The Strangers Chapter 2. The Strangers Chapter 2 went AWOL after dropping this teaser back in October. Some are looking forward to it. Others believe Rennie Harlan already lost him during Chapter 1 and has already jumped the shark. The teaser confirmed that we'd have to wait until 2025 after previously being told that 2024 would at least contain 2 movies from the trilogy being released. Now, a Cineplex page in Thailand might have revealed when Part 2 is arriving in theaters. I'll leave a link to the tweet down below. It says The Strangers Chapter 2 is releasing in April. Now, this hasn't been officially confirmed by Lionsgate or officially announced by the Strangers Chapter 2 page. Keep your eye out on sites like istamrahome.net, who have proven themselves to be reliable in the past when it comes to all things related to the Strangers and the upcoming Strangers trilogy. So, Thailand, I believe, is getting the film, or they got the film Chapter 1 or right around the time that the States got Chapter 1. So if this is credible, that could be something to consider when it comes to when we will get this movie in the States. If it's dropping in April in Thailand, more than likely it's going to drop in April in the States. Now, I've said this in the past, but Madeline Pesh is the only reason I'll even be bothering to watch Chapter 2 and Chapter 3. Since they've made it clear she's going to be in the whole thing. I think that's what the comments have been leading us to think ever since Rennie Harlan's show was being aired and from other interviews that have come out about this trilogy. I'm willing to watch each movie and judge it as fairly as possible, despite my mind progressively telling me that this isn't The Strangers and they have completely missed the point of that original film. In the past, I did argue that if they were to somehow leave certain things up to my interpretation without spoon-feeding me every little thing when it comes to The Strangers, then that might be something I could forgive and be like, okay, I'm on board with that. But so far, all signs point to The Strangers not being very strange by the end of it all, and I will revisit this and join the bandwagon like the rest of you, saying that they do not understand what The Strangers meant all those years ago. They just wanted to cash in on something that means so much to diehard horror fans like myself and those of you listening. Now, let's talk about Fear Street. R.L. Stine revealed 3 Fear Street movies are in the works, according to The Hollywood Reporter. The report reads more murder and mayhem is coming to Shady Side with 3 more Fear Street films in development. That's according to the master of middle grade horror R.L. Stine, who reveals just how many more adaptations of his popular young adult horror novel series are currently in the works while speaking to The Hollywood Reporter ahead of Disney Plus's Goosebumps The Vanishing premiere coming January 10th. He says, the writers are working, so I've got my fingers crossed. The 3 films will follow Netflix's successful 2021 Leigh Janiak directed trilogy, as well as the upcoming 4th film, The Prom Queen, which has finished filming and is slated for sometime in 2025. It says here in parentheses, The Hollywood Reporter reached out to Netflix for more details. Now, how nice to have this announcement while we wait for promo to start on Fear Street Prom Queen. The report indicates that this is separate from that movie, which is cool. Anything in Shady Side right now is better than what Disney is doing with Goosebumps. The Fear Street adaptations from Netflix at least have a clear tone and aren't fully suffering from an identity crisis. I'll clip my Goosebumps Season 2 review at the end of this video. You can watch that season when it airs this Friday, when it releases, if you're someone who's into Goosebumps and what Disney has been doing with the latest show that came out in 2023. Are you looking forward to more Fear Street movies? Why or why not? Let me know all of that down below. The last thing we will talk about here is going to be Scream 7. So Scream 7 is supposed to start shooting this week on Tuesday, I believe, and cast have started to arrive on set. Celeste O'Connor caused a storm in my DMs this past week when a few folks chimed in to let me know they had arrived in Atlanta. At the time of this being uploaded, Nev and Kevin should be there as well. One person on a few folks' mind, though, is Patrick Dempsey. All I can say is I wouldn't be surprised if someone got announced this week. Not just someone, maybe a few someones, a few people get announced this week. Filming is supposed to begin Tuesday, so a last-minute round of announcements makes sense to me. What better way to honor that filming has kicked off than by announcing your last bit of people who signed on all that time ago? Because it wouldn't just be signing on. They had signed, and you wanted to save the announcements for the week of filming beginning, probably just like one last say hoorah to prove to the public that, hey, we're not in shambles, we're out of the doghouse, because for the longest time it seemed like Scream 7 was in the doghouse. So in some regard, it is nice to see that they are out of the doghouse, because I again do not want a bad Scream movie. I just want the rights holders to change, but I don't want a bad Scream movie. Some of you have another opinion on that, and that's fine. I still don't think what has transpired means that I deserve to be able to sit down and watch a bad Scream movie, because we don't have one yet. I think that Scream 3 is the weakest, but I don't think it's a bad movie, and I'm not looking for Scream 7 to start the streak of bad films. Now, as far as Patrick Dempsey goes, if he signs or doesn't sign, that really doesn't make a difference to me, because at the end of the day, I still have to come to terms with the reality that they never specified who Mark was on screen. This was all confirmed off screen. And of course, we know that they want Patrick Dempsey to be the Mark that they get back. They want Kincaid, but if it's someone else and a new Mark, so be it. Mark Kincaid was never the words used in Scream 5. It was just Mark. Before we get out of here, we actually just got confirmation, well, reports are out there now, confirming that Scream 7 is going to start shooting this month. This came to us from casting director Rich D'Elia, who confirmed that this is going to be shooting this month while speaking to the direct. He also addressed his process when it comes to casting Ghostface, but he did make comments about Scream 7 shooting at the top of the year in January 2025. So all signs are pointing to us getting production this Tuesday, as has been reported in the past through Production Weekly and other sites. So he said, I was lucky enough to work on the last two Scream films, so I've had a little experience with casting a few actors as Ghostface, and it's always different depending on the story and the tone. You know, I love Mikey Madison so much. She was obviously popping so big this year in Nora, and she's amazing, and she was someone who had really popped into my mind when we were doing, you know, one of the previous iterations of Scream. And then Jack Quaid is such a likable, personable guy that you knew this was kind of a twist that you wouldn't necessarily see coming. So depending on where they fit into the story, or looking at how I can either mess with audience expectations, present a red herring, you know, pick someone that you would never expect, Ghostface kind of fits into each iteration of Scream differently. And so you're just looking for however the casting can elevate or subvert the audience's expectations of who that might be. Now, I will say that it sounds like their whole approach isn't taking into consideration the fact that many people like myself who study Scream in and out, or have just caught on to certain tricks, we're going to spot certain things from a mile away. Like the fact that some of us will look at people and the shirts they're wearing and say, oh, that's the killer. And then the common person will say, how do you know? Well, in the last movie, all the killers wore these type of shirts, and that's why this person's going to be Ghostface. And they're going to look at you like you're freaking crazy. Because, again, the casting process is trying to appeal to the average person, not people like me who aren't probably going to be shocked at anybody who ends up being Ghostface. It's very hard for Scream to shock me now when it comes to these reveals. I'm not looking to be shocked. I'm just looking for something to be sensible. I'm looking for a good time. I'm looking for a Scream film that is of quality like all the others. I'm not necessarily needing to be shocked with a Ghostface reveal. If it happens, it happens. But his comments definitely pinpoint to me that their mindset is thinking about the majority of people who are not studying the ins and outs of why certain people will be Ghostface all the way down to the type of shirts they're wearing. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section below. If you haven't already, of course, make sure you subscribe, turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. In the description, I'll have links on my social media accounts. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can message me there to let me know if there's any movies, news, or reviews you'd like me to cover in the future. And with all that in mind, guys, I will see you in the next video.